Give me $15. It's on the MTG Hasbro stock this morning. $15. Give me $15. Anybody give me $15? No? Well, that's too bad because we're at it again. Here, folks, good morning. This is Brody. Let's get the show on the road. How you doing, y'all? It's Monday, November 28th. We're back. We're back. We're here. We're happy. Show for you folks today. Thanks for tuning in. I hope your weekend was all right. All right. Now, what? Let's just get things moving here around on the screen. Make sure everything's working right. Chat is up. Chat is up this morning. Brody's got the chat up. Anybody tuning in on the channel this morning for the live stream, I hope you folks had yourself a smooth, fantastic weekend. All you fans of Magic the Gathering, 166 subscribers, you folks. It's no joke. We're really enjoying doing the show. Had a really fun stream on Saturday, and we're still looking for that Earl of Drummer. Hit me up in the comment section if you happen to tune in today. What are we going to start off here right now? Let's take a look at the price of Hasbro stock. We got to check it. Got to check it out this morning. It's early, 62.10. Let's make sure our screencasting is working. Buttons are clicking, mouses are clicking, keyboards are keyboarding. Let's bring this up for everybody to see. Oh, where'd you go? Brody, you're moving around there. Good, 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 good. All right, let's run this over here for a little bit, let's move this around. There we go. There we go. Perfect. And shrink myself. I am shrinking. Very nice, very nice. And then make sure we keep the chat box up there because we love the chat box for you folks so you can watch in the replay. Anybody who is tuning in this morning, it's Monday. I'm going to take a look at the MTG stocks here this morning with you folks. Hasbro stock, let's get a little sip of coffee. And we'll get right into doing the show. Holy moly. Hmm. Now that's nice. Now that's nice. That's all right. Let's take a look here. Hasbro stock, $62.10. I'm going to start off with a little bit of review on the Hasbro stock and an article that come out over the weekend, over and under. And I am very interested. I get some light read for you this morning on the over under. This is by Harvey McGinnis. Once again, thank you, Harvey. Another article written by the graduate there, Mr. Harvey, over at MTG Stocks. The new series that'll be picking overvalued card and an undervalued card each month. Getting right into it, you're going to give us a bit of a first one's free here on this one because it's got a lot to unpack because this is a new section. Pick these cards just being an overall as evaluated by their market price in isolation. They are being affected by roughly the same sales phenomenon. Each of these has popped up in the daily interests, and for good reason. So a couple of these cards, and I did get take a peek at these before we did the show. Scent of Cinder. Let's take a look at this card. It's pretty interesting. Reveal any number of red cards in your hand for a red and one. Scent of Cinder deals X damage to target creature or player where X is the number of cards revealed this way. So like a card like, I don't know, Seagate Restoration, where you have no max hand size. By Harvey. In order of most to least absurd. Let's start with Scent of Cinder, specifically the media promo printing. Pretty great printing, right? So what do we say? What's Harvey got to say about this card? Never heard of it before, much less seen it played. This isn't even the case of speculation due to rarity. The problem here, as is the problem for the next two cards of this chunk of over under, is that a couple of listings were sold at an astronomically high price and are skewing the data set which is used to calculate the market price. So this does happen. This is a pretty good example of what we've been talking about on the show, how a card getting listed at an absurdly large price pulls up the medium value for the card, but a card selling at a funny high price. Say Brody wants to sell himself a copy of Scent of Cinder for $110, it's going to affect the price. Scent of Cinder is a low volume mover, so it has few sales. And when there are any sales at all, it can crack at its market price, which is exactly what we see here. This ability to skew the data set with a couple of high end price purchases is directly proportional to the average number of card sales over time, which is why Scent of Cinder is the poster child for our overvalued cards this month. Compare the market price to the median price and what you see and what I mean. Sales are still moving at the normal median price for the card in spite of the absurd market price. In essence, the market price right now is an echo of a trend that was never really there to begin with. So proceed with caution when dealing with this card. We talked about this fact specifically on the show a couple of times, but conversely to this fact is like the listed price. So if it sells, that's one thing. If somebody just jumps onto the market and starts posting, and especially with a low volume card like this, an oddity, a rarity, and starts posting sales, for sale prices, or especially if there's three different vendors that all do it, that affects the listed price. And a good example of that was a card we saw last week was in the movers and shakers list. Try and find it here for you folks. I think it was the Volcanic Island. Like here's a really interesting card. By the way, today Magic 30, that set actually drops today. So today this morning we're gonna see something. We're probably gonna hear some news on that. But Brody got there first for you folks this morning. Richie Dubs, hey, good to see you here, Richie Dubs. We're just doing a little review of the over under, checking the price of Hasbro stock here, Richie. It's $62.10. How you all doing today? Hope you're making your way to wherever it is you're going. Be safe, or if you're out in the woods, dress warm. Today is the day where I think that Magic 30 product drops, and we're just doing a little over under before any of the markets really open. First card we're discussing is the Scent of Cinder card. For a red and one, you can reveal any number of red cards in your hand, and Scent of Cinder deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of cards revealed this way. So, like what does this work well with? Cards that let you have no maximum hand size, or cards that let you have a sip of coffee in the morning. Pretty interesting card. Next up, the Eternal Masters version of Fact or Fiction. I was excited when this card dropped because you could now get yourself a foil version fairly easy. Factor Fiction is a high volume card mover, so a few price listings don't swing the numbers too badly, but the price here, the spike here is substantial to say the least. The card is good, definitely granted that, but not throwing $30 at an uncommon from a modern era reprint set. And neither is the vast majority of the market. Again, cross referencing the market and median prices here is a value step, as it conforms the discrepancy as one not necessarily affecting the average forward listing right now. So yeah, Factor Fiction is definitely an example of a card that you probably overvalued as far as the market sees it. Seen as though it is an uncommon. I do like to say the art on this of Joyra and Squee in the depiction here on the card, really epic art. Or no, that's Hannah Ship's Navigator. Maybe that is Hannah Ship's Navigator and Squee. Yes. Fortunately, back to real life again until next weekend. The daily grind and whatnot. Yeah, I hear you, Richie. It's Monday. It's like the first day of the week. Pick yourself a Garfield. You want to go back to bed? Do you want to wake up and kick the dog this Monday? I know. We all know the feeling. And today is the day. There should be some excitement for you today, Richie Dubs. I promise you. There's got to be some excitement because today's the day the Magic 30 drops, right? It's the day that set is released. So, like, there's going to be some videos. There's going to be some Harvey here. Battle of Zendikar printing a Ulemog, the Ceaseless Hunger. This is a bit more interesting case. Yes, the phenomenon as before is happening here. Just cross-references the sales history with the market median price differential for a quick verification. But the price difference isn't as monumental. This is for a couple of reasons. First off, like Fact or Fiction, Ulamog is a playable card with a high sales volume. Okay. Ulamog's expensive though. Like he's $50 to $60. Secondly, the price difference between our outlier sales and the standard sale wasn't as high to begin with. Ulamog trends around the $50 to $60 mark, and the outlier sales all were around 200. Like who's paying 200 for an Ulamog? In terms of absolute value, this is still quite a difference, but in terms of percentages, it's nothing compared to what something like Scent of Cinder experienced, our first card. $4 averages with a $200 outlier is a completely different order of magnitude. So we're talking about magnitude. This leaves us with is an artificially inflated market price, but not so great a spike as to shock the market to the point of ignoring it. This behavior, when coupled with Ulamog's pre-existing upward price trend, is actually creating a slight accelerated upwards push on the price of the card. The market value is still distorted, don't get me wrong, but if I learned anything in the market economics so far, it's that expectations can be self-fulfilling. In short, don't touch Ulamog that ceases hunger at prices above the median. But if you have a copy or two, on you that you aren't using. Be patient and keep an eye on if the upward pressure turns into legitimately higher price marketplace with opportunity for greater sales value. I would also check the meta, Harvey. I mean, first of all, are people playing this version of Ulamog? Yes, they are. I look at the deck sets playing it. That's a good place to start. It really is. So I'm just gonna make sure the gain is working. How's the gain on the mic? Yeah. All right. Gain on the mic is all right. So yeah, check and see if anybody's playing this card. First of all, that's part of the game. But the second part of the game is you can actually open this card. Like it is something you could open it. Like, this is Zendikar version of it, right? Let me just move some stuff around here for you. Make sure the chat's working. Do we get the whole chat up? Sometimes I lose a little bit of the chat there. Just gonna have a little sip of coffee here this morning. November 28th. I'm chilling with my buddy Richie Dubs. We're having ourselves a case of the Mondays on the 28th. Checking the Hasbro stock, doing a little reading of the over/under. We got new article from MTG Stocks. Kind of a neat series. I hope they keep continue on with it. A couple of good points. Holy smokes, we got 4 peoples in the chat here this morning. This Brody, Morning Magic Stocks, and we're going to do a little Morning Magic Talks. It's all good. You can be AFK. I going to carry on with this little article. Okay, now we're done with what to flip. That's what could be a good pickup of undervalued card this month. A card we did speak about a little bit last week, the Gemstone Caverns. Excellent. Here is the interesting case as far as game piece mechanics are concerned. The unique effect. This card is super relevant. right? This card, like, if you want to build around luck, this unique effect that fulfills competitive niche as well as incremental advantage slot. It's a solid but small component of a multiple non-rotating format list, as well as a staple across EDH. CEDH is CEDH playing the Gemstone Caverns? I don't know about that, but in short, demand for the card is relatively stable. If anything, has a future with a likelihood of rising demand. I remember when this got reprinted. Brody was sitting on a foil copy, I believe, and then I think it's been time shifted and it's also been reprinted. Price wise, the card is certainly on a cyclical uptrend. Periodic spikes of interest followed by a rubber band desk collapse back to a slightly above pre spike price. But what's really interesting about this is that the price trend is on an upward swing in spite of reprints, as well as the overall downward pressure of a bearish market. Okay, okay. Morning, coach. Coach is in the house. This is a card that, I mean, if you've been burned on a card once before, you sort of seem to remember it. Now, it's a lower price, and at $50, $60, I'm not going to rush into a set of gemstone caverns myself. But let's read on to see what Harvey says. Good article so far. This sounds great, but what it takes from being a value pick and moves it to being something with a greater potential for price increase. Let's look back at the price history because to get a better sense for this question, we're going to need some price projections and a broader approach to market sentiment. Additionally, from here, going to write a massive asterisk next to this card. It is going to be reprinted. Yes, it will be reprinted. So, I will reiterate that I think this card is undervalued. There will likely be a point where it can be bought cheaper. Just ask Time Spiral, my remastered cousin Tyler McGoy. The question is, however, will that price be cheaper than the market price right now, or just cheaper than its next spike? I would say probably is. Reprints tend to push the card down. So, yeah, returning to that cyclical uptrend notion, let's have a little sip of coffee. So, returning to that cyclical uptrend notion from before, it's important to note and put some context behind it. Magic cards will frequently undergo one of two principal price directions when they're reprinted. Either they decrease and stay suppressed because of a market supply flood which outpaces demand, or they decrease briefly and then gradually trend upwards as new eyes brought to the market begin to outnumber the new copies available. Reprints and releases bring market noise and new demand from players who previously couldn't access the card, and sometimes this new demand supports a price spike after the reprint. Counter to the standardly intuitive price suppression new supply would otherwise bring. Gemstone Caverns hit the sweet spot of being reprinted in every very limited quantities. The list is barely a dent in the market. Time Spiral Remastered flew off shelves before most players could get their hands on it, whilst occupying a growing competitive niche due to its unique effect, one which it holds to this day. In essence, the reprints of Gemstone Caverns have been flashes in the pan, enough to dazzle an interested audience into considering a pick up a copy, but not enough to suppress the long term price. Looking back at the data, Gemstone Caverns has passed its most recent contraction and is back on the upswing. It is in the gradual uptrend portion of the cyclical uptrend while being held down by the broader market bearish price, while mostly heavily discounted on the card market. All factors can support the price of non-reserve list cards there are for Gemstone Caverns, and it doesn't look like it will be falling anytime soon. Thanks, Harvey. Another interesting article by our friends over at the stock desk, Gemstone Cavern. I really like playing this card. It's funny. It's a bit of a meme card. It takes extra turns. If it's there, so let's read the card. If it's in your opening hand and you're not playing first, you get to begin the game with a luck counter on it. And if you do, remove a card in your hand from the game. So you get to start this. This is what you would announce as a pre-game effect. It usually you sit down to play, you draw your 7, resolve mulligans, and resolve who's playing first, and then resolve mulligans. And then this would be once mulligans are resolved, this is when you would, you'd look to the player with the initiative and say, and if you had the initiative, you would announce it. You'd say I have some pregame effects. And if you don't have the initiative, this is a card that makes you think about asking your opponent for pregame effects. If it's in the format, yeah, it's legendary. You can only play one on the battlefield. Very interesting card. I like it. Thanks for everybody stopping in. We're going to be here just a little bit past the hour today on Morning Magic Stocks and a little bit of Magic Talks. So thanks for tuning in. Got the chat up. Let's run down the movers and shakers list today, and then let's take a look. Now, I want to start by let's just throw up another. Let's just throw another cup of coffee together here. Let's build ourselves a coffee. Why don't you do the same? Build yourself a coffee. Buckle up. It's Monday. If you're on your way to work today, make sure you make your way safely and have some safe adventures on your Monday. We're going to run down the movers and the shakers list for you here in a minute, folks. But first, Brody's going to build himself another cup of coffee. I like that article. Good job, Harvey. Keep writing them. We'll keep reading them. I like checking for new news on there each and every morning. If you don't have time to check the card prices, let me do it for you. I'm doing it anyway. I check these prices, these articles every single day. I like to catch the news when it drops. And on Fridays, we get to do some pretty cool stuff here on the channel. So that's pretty great. Hey, Dual Brain stopping by before he starts his day. I let us know in the. I've already built a coffee. That's why I was AFK. Right on. We got the brain coach. I got you kit going out today. Morning. Dual brains in the house. That's right. The most thinkingest man in the game of Magic the Gathering. You got to tune in and get yourself a couple of emojis over at the Dual Brain channel. Check out the live stream, and it's a whole lot of fun. It really is. Peace, love, and happiness, everybody in the Magic community. Today's Monday. The MTG 30 product drops today, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Is that? I mean, today's going to be an exciting day. I mean, if you don't like Mondays, if you're like, I don't like Mondays. At least today is going to be an exciting day. Like there should really be some news today and a little bit of action on the internet with the release of that product. So a good source I would check over at the Dual Brain channel later on today. We're definitely going to be doing that. But let's run down this list here. Let's do it. Let's talk about the movers and the shakers today. And I'm on the all side. So like sometimes we run down the legacy side, sometimes we'll run down the all side. But I think today is a day because we got all the power on here, right? So like the power is sitting on the list here, and like modern as well. We should take just a we'll look at the modern list because you never know when Robert O'Brien's going to join us. So we got some pretty interesting cards on the modern list, but worth noting today, and I don't see this very often. This is like I've been checking this list for years, boys, and I haven't seen it where like the full set of Power 9 is on the list. Time Twister, Black Lotus, Time Walk, Copy Artifact. No, that's not Power, but Mox, Jet, Ancestral Recall, and Library of Alexandria. It's been a while. It's been a minute since I've seen a list like this. Let's take a look. Has this got anything to do with the product release for today? I don't know, but it looks like the real power is moving here. Beta edition, Time Twister. This one's showing let's take this one's showing a gain, a 25% gain of up to 14,000. 25 $2,750 on the Time Twister, up 24% for 14,000. That's a pretty big bump, $2,750 bump. I think that's a little low, actually. What's this card chart looking like? And let's make sure we can see it. I'll pull back the chart for you folks. Yeah, see this baby from beta. Out of alpha beta, how you doing? This card is seen a price bump up to 50,000, and I can believe it if a graded copy sold across the internet, that would show up here. That would trigger a price spike up to $50,000. Why not? I could see a graded copy going for even higher. But this card's on the top 10 here this morning. Very top of the list, the Beta Time Twister. And I mean, cards are playing it all over in Commander, right? Blue Tinker, Nekuzar, the Mind Razor, Wheel Effect. It's like the granddaddy of wheel cards for a blue and two. You get to set Time Twister aside in a new graveyard, shuffle your hand, library, graveyard all together in a new library, and draw a hand of 7 cards, leaving all cards in play where they are. Your opponents must do the same. This card, it rocks. The $1,000 product release on the cusp of Christmas shopping stress. Likely will go live after to discuss it. Looking forward to it. Sorry, kids. Santa got 6 this year. Daddy needed new 10. Hmm. Right? Because we're all trying to be responsible. And that is just helping everyone do it, isn't it? Blue Tinker, Nekuzar, the Mind Reaser, Urza, El Minister. I want to see what this is. What's this card? Okay, so graded copies. Got a near mint copy for $20,999. Haichi Mama. Over at Card Kingdom, none in stock. So that's what they've got. The vendors have got it listed high for a near mint copy, all the way up to 20 grand. PSA 7 for 20,000. And a BGS subgrade 985, BGS 85 for 50. So there, here we go. Like here's the card, right? That's an 85, BGS 85. It's a beauty. This is $50,000. There's people watching it, and I would say this is from Anaheim, California. I'd say this is the card that's pushing it up. This baby got listed. So some people are unloading some power, right? Right? That's what we're seeing. People are that got to be some new listings, right? Let's see. New listings. Let's check it out. New listings. Yeah, it could be a new listing. All right. Maybe people are unloading the power because, they're anticipating price go down. Price going down Monday. Morning Magic stocks. If you are in the market for Black Lotus, Dual Land, or anything like that, like if you want a nice sweet spot to sit and watch these prices, and try and pick up something for yourself or someone you care about, you can come to the right place. You can sit back and take a look at all these cards here. Joining us on the Morning Magic stocks, looking at the price of Black Lotus. Black Lotus is up $2,250.01, up to $24,250. That's right, I said it. It's up $2,250 to $24,250. Here's a card, like the Unlimited Lotus. Put it next to that Beta Time Twister we just looked at. Like, it's almost the same price. In fact, some people will say the Beta Time Twister should be a little bit more, but it is a Black Lotus. This is the tournament legal version. This is one you can actually play. That's right. Reserve list, original Black Lotus, up $24,250. Anybody going to give me that for it today? Can I get a bidder on this baby here? This beautiful, played in all of the vintage decks, right? All of the vintage decks sold out on Card Kingdom. eBay auction. Let's go. Whoa. See, this is going to be pushing it up a little bit. Here we go. One quad nine, 59,999 for this quad nine Black Lotus. That's could be another new listing, right? We're going to see people listing all kinds of goodies here. And then there's a 9. Oh, look at this, 100,000. So does this price look low? 24,250 for the Lotus compared to some of these graded versions? That's a played copy. It couldn't be worse. It could be worse. So let's let's sit back and take a look another card on the reserve list and movers and shakers here on November 28th. It's pretty incredible to see all this power on the all side just once. Boom. Anybody, like I said it once, I'll say it again for anybody tuning in. Friends of Magic the Gathering Brain. Is this like the first time you've seen so much power on this movers and shakers list? Like the whole set of power moving, a beta time walk. also appearing. There must have been a bunch of copies listed over the weekend. Could it be listed or relisted? This thing's up 19% for the beta version, 11,800. If we're seeing any of this move, it's going to be like a bunch of new listings that are pushing the prices up. Maybe there's some people that are thinking they're going to buy back into these cheaper later on. Blue Tinker, Paradoxical, all the spells that played in Vintage. 8cast. What's this? Is this with Thoughtcast? I want to check this out. Yes, it is Thoughtcast. 8cast. Apparently, this is a pretty good deck, and it would make sense to have a Lotus in a Thoughtcast deck. It's got that monitor, doesn't it? The creature. Where's the creature? Thought monitor. Yeah, this card, right? Affinity, and it draws you 2 cards. This card's really good. So Lotus makes this guy even cheaper, right? Ah, love it. Blightsteel Colossus, Kappa Cannoneer, Urza, and Emery. This Cannoneer is a pretty interesting card. Ward 4. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer and it X. Old school, the Time Walk is a perfect fit. Are they selling or just being listed? Let's take a look here. Let's go sold listings. Let's go Black Lotus. You want to see the Black Lotus sold listings, or do we want to see beta Time Twister sold listings? Sold items. Ended recently. A lot of the Duel Masters versions selling. So we got one on the 27th yesterday, sold for 12-1 for a 6. Sold one Lotus for 12-1 over the weekend on the eBay. There's 12,100. These Duel Masters ones, I really would like to get one in my hands on one of these Duel Masters. And that looks about it. Oversized promos, couple of selling. So it looks like just listings there, Richie. Ended recently. Time Twister. Provoking question. Oh yeah, for sure. It is thought provoking. I agree with you 100%. Like it's to me like just to get a full look at the market. Time Twister selling for about $5,000 for the unlimited copy over the weekend at November 25th and 27th. So one damaged version sold, as well as a moderately played one for 5,501. Yeah, it's worth looking. Are these actually selling, or are they just getting listed? Like this Time Walk here, we're checking out. Like there's one here for 20,000, which is double what the medium price is. But when a lot of new copies come onto the market, like, say maybe there's people, it just kind of gives me an idea. We're talking a little bit about market sentiment, right? Like, what kind of a sentiment is there in the market? It looks like people are listing a lot of these high-end cards, like this card, Copy Artifact, up 46%, $5,850. I have a hard time believing that, but what's going on here with this Copy Artifact? Why is it on the list here this morning for the Alpha Rare? May enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield, except it's an enchantment in addition to its other types. Select an artifact in play, and it is a duplicate of that artifact. Little sip of coffee here. Now, got to remember, this is probably like the collector version. Uh, and when I say that, this would be like the premium versions, the alpha version. Like collectors would want this. If people are going to play it, they're probably going to get themselves an unlimited or a revised copy for $66. This card's seen buyouts a number of times in revised and even other sets. I don't know if we're selling it on the vendor shops. Yeah, 46, 5,000. So it's a $5,000 alpha rare. It's actually a good one. It is a good card. And there's a couple other copies here listed for 8,800. Got 27 hours to go on a couple of these listings. Only one available at the vendor shops. If you want to get yourself an alpha copy artifact, it's going to cost you a boat. A boat, a bus, a train, and a bucket. to get yourself a copy artifact. Ancestral Recall, a lot of alpha cards. Hey, these collectors cards, like these really high end original Magic cards, like 16,299 for this alpha Ancestral Recall medium price. Let's see. This card's like this is really strange to see all of these the power cards hitting the list here all at once on release day. Have myself a little sip of coffee. Blue Tempo, Oath of Druids, Oops, All Spells, Sultai Midrange, Standstill, and the 8 cast deck all running this. One near mint copy available at the vendors for a mere 27,900, and a couple graded copies. So that's probably going to be pushing. These look like newer listings. There's 4 or 5 days on there of the Ancestral. Let's have a look here. Ancestral. Fantastic subgrades. Yep, this is a graded copy. So we got a couple of copies of that up on the auction block. Anybody want to do some modern cards? What's next on the list? We got the Mox Jet, Volcanic Island, Savannah, Library of Alexandria, and then another copy of the Time Twister, different version, mind you. So let's just have another look back at the modern list because this is usually kind of fun. Modern cards. First Sliver, a Modern Horizons card, up 4%. It's only $1 bump in price, but the First Sliver, it's the one that's got Cascade and it has all 7 power and 7 toughness. Costs 1 of each. The First Sliver, let's take a look at this sliver. Okay, the First Sliver is $25 for the First Sliver. Mythic slot, 1 of each color. Your sliver spells you have get Cascade. Like, this thing is insane. I don't like playing slivers at the best of times, and this could be a great commander for slivers. Why not? With all the artifacts out there making a Wooburg, like just tap and make a 1 of each, this seems pretty good. It itself has Cascade, yes. So it's played as a commander and it's played with Overlord. So any of the sliver builds that have, uh, any of the sliver builds that have a different sliver as the commander, this card's still going to go in the deck. It's just not the commander. And I'm pretty sure you can just move it in and out with the Hive Lord or the Sliver Queen. I have plenty of copies over at the vendor's shop for $23. Interesting card. If you're playing slivers, it could be considered a staple. The first sliver giving all your sliver spells Cascade. Like it. Reiki, the history of Kamigawa. I gotta look at this card. I'm gonna refamiliarize myself with this card because I don't even think I've seen it before. There's so many cards in the game, but this one's Saviors of Kamigawa, legendary creature human shaman. The 1/2 for a green and 2. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. Hey, that seems not too bad. Is it worth the $14.29? After his death, Monk spent 10 years transcribing the tattoos from Reiki's body and gathering stories from those who spoke with him. Thus, the volume you hold was written, The History of Kamigawa. So, like, the history of Kamigawa came off of Reiki's tattoos. Pretty interesting lore here on this. This is Reiki the card, so amazing. I think it's probably worth it, right? It's trending up in price. It seems to be like a decent card. Why wouldn't you build this? Throw this into your commander. Joda the Unifier, Asika the God of 3, Sisei Weatherlight Captain, Jedid Ojan and the Mercenary, Karth the Lion, Reiki, the History of Kamigawa. Here he is here. Found it. He is a commander. Mono green. I guess you could play this with like the little elfy guys like Riss. Isn't he 1 green to play? He's legendary. This will draw you a card. So what do we got? Hope of Girafpur. They are yeah, Hope of Giraf. This is like a all gas, right? We need slivers. You slivers you cast cost Wooburg less, like Gigantha, where it only applies to colored symbols, though not generic cause, right? Hope of Girafpur is going to draw you a card off of Reiki, Ovia, the Pashiri Sage, Lifecrafter, all these legendary 1-drops. Jural, Moanvuli, Recluse. Asusa Lost But Seeking, Dozan, the Falling Leaf. Yeah, these are all like small legendary creatures. What a cool deck. Seems like a pretty fun commander build, and I could see why this Reiki, the History of Kamigawa, is making a bump up on price. Well, I kind of like that card. Third off the top, the Field Marshal. What do we got here? Other soldiers get +1/+1. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Soldiers. Okay. Well, unless it's the Cation Lieutenant, I'm not interested. That's that's all I gotta say. Um, that's funny. Give me a second here. Let me just take a look at it. Vacation Lieutenant? No, Field Marshal for 2 white and 1. This card from Cold Snap in a legend. Nope, not a legendary creature. Human soldier slot is a lord for soldiers. He's up 15%. The Knights of Strongald struck Darian's roost from two sides. They would have caught Keldor in a pincer attack were it not for Darian's tacticians. Wow, strong lore on this card. The Field Marshal, $5.89. Like, can we get can the occasional lieutenant get some love? Soldier builds, I guess. He must be a commander. Muriel played with Muriel's Shield of Argive, right? This new Muriel card. Oh, yeah, it's a house. 18 bucks for Muriel, and she says whenever she attacks, you get X11 soldier token, artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control. I don't see is the occasion lieutenant in this deck? No, probably not. No one cares about him. That's too bad because soldiers are a thing and you can give them fire breathing. There's just not a lot of ways to make a ton of white mana. Skull Clamp, Horn of Valhalla, Lightning Greaves, and a bunch of other good stuff. Putting this card on the list this week. Field Marshal from Cold Snap. Plain Soldiers, get yourself some. Darksteel Forge. I know this is the modern side, but it's most likely going to be all a lot of commander decks. Darksteel Forge, if you want your artifacts to be indestructible and made of dark steel. Inconceivable force shape the unshapable. Darksteel Forge. Pontifex Elder Researcher. I don't know, but I'm going to have a little sip of coffee here. We look at this price from the Darksteel Forge. I think it's even played in Commander. Yes, it is. See, we're running down the modern side, finding everything, including Commander cards. Played with Urza, Chief Artificer. Yeah, of course, it would give all your constructs indestructible because they'd be made of dark steel. Here's the card. This is one. I think Alan brought this up. This Liberator Urza Battle Thopter. This card is like a sleeper card. It really is. Check this out. 3 mana for a 1/2 with flash. It can be cast off of Mishra's Workshop. Okay, let's just say that. Flying, you may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. So you play Workshop this, or you play you play Workshop and say go. And then on your opponent's turn, you flash this in, and then you go off. Like you can set up like turn 0 or turn like you can set up turn 2 plays your opponent can't see coming. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast that spell is greater than Liberator, Battle Thopter's power, put a 1/1 counter on Liberator. Okay, so in the vintage deck, maybe with the Foundry Inspector, right? So you can go like Workshop on your opponent's turn, this, and then Lotus Mox, and then like untap. It could be a sleeper card. This card I like it. It's Commander Secret Santa. Liberate the constructs. This deck. I like the name of it. This deck. Then the Secret Santa deck. Liberate the constructs. Urza's Battlethopter. Inquisitive Puppet. Eager Construct. Enters the battlefield. Scry. Create a 1/1 Uman token. Aw. Eager Construct. Are people playing this card? Okay. From Battle Bond. Hedron Crawler. A Mana Rock. Yeah. Okay. Marching Duodrone. Ah, fun. The Darksteel Forge. That is what all that stuff gets forged with after you play it. What do you got? Mirrodin Besieged, the actual card from the Masters set, Modern Masters or Modern Horizons. $5.70. If it enters the battlefield, choose Mirren or Phyrexian. Oh, this is one of those choice cards. Got to make a choice here. Cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless mirror, or at the beginning of your end step, draw a card, then discard a card. Then, if there are 15 or more artifact cards in your graveyard, target opponent loses the game. All right, it's a game win. It's a win condition. Mirrodin Besieged. Yes, it's got a big Phyrexian bad guy there. And it's got the Mirrans just like defending it, right? Card's seen a little bump up in price. Maybe it's popular, right? From the Modern Horizon set. Who's it playing with? Urza, the Chief Artificer. Oh, a lot of these Urza decks getting a lot of support in the new sets come out. The Brothers War and everything else. MH1, yeah. Hit that like 3 times. Nice. Sold out at the vendor shop. It's a played card. It really is. People want this card right now. They want to play it in Commander. So it's cleaned out off the shelves. $5 for this card. Pretty cool. Hollowed Fountain. Decent card. The Shocky lands, right? They will see a reprint, but this Hollowed Fountain here with this particular art, and it is the one from Dissension. It's got really cool fountainy art. This one's like, look at it's Rob Alexander. That's why. Look at this landscape art like by Rob Alexander. $35 for the Rob Alexander art. Yeah, a real nice piece. For this, of course, Pioneer Modern staple, right? Hammer Time. Hammer Time. That's right. It's Hammer Time. That's a card we're going to see in Hammer Time for sure. Esper Control and Niftalite. Niftalite deck. That's a neat deck. It's in the Pioneer format. Play with Yorion the Sky Nomad. Yes, we're just bringing Niv Mizzet Reborn. Boom. This is a heck of a deck to play. You bet. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library for each color pair. Choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand. The rest of the bottom in a random order. So like this card is just sickly overpowerful. If your opponent can start flickering this in the battlefield, it just wrecks your day. It gives you a case of the Mondays. Oh, does it ever? Uh, Fun to play, not fun to play against, especially with Yorion in the house. Hollowed Fountain, pushing that Hollowed Fountain into the movers and the shaker. Kokusho, the Evening Star. What a cool looking. I want to draw this. I got to draw this one I should draw this one for the Droodles, the cartoon art series that we do. This one would be one that I think would be fun to draw. The fall of the evening star never heralds a gentle dawn. Kokusho, the evening star, on the list today. It really is. We're gonna have just a little sip of coffee. November 28th. You folks are awesome. Thank you very much for joining me here this morning. Little morning magic stocks and magic talks with your host Brody. We are discussing the movers and the shakers list and the over under list that we covered this morning. Overvalued cards and undervalued cards. For those of you folks just tuning in, the over and under included Gemstone Caverns, which is likely it could get hit with a reprint and is going to get hit with a reprint. So I don't know if I fully agree on this thing being undervalued, especially at $50. It's going to get hit with a reprint. So, agree to disagree. Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, an interesting card that is sitting at the 60 to 50 to $60 mark. It's debatable whether this card is overvalued at 50 to $60. This card, Factor Fiction, the Eternal Masters for foil versions, I think it's like showing $30, but it is likely a discrepancy. And finally, a card that I hadn't heard of before, which is kind of interesting, it's got some amazing art on it, is the Scent of Cinder. For a red and 1, reveal any number of red cards in your hand. Scent of Cinder deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of cards revealed this way. So this card, like, it's showing like it's got such a low volume that any price action moves it. So that's an effect that we were discussing that can happen in the market. Time to make the proverbial bagels. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, Richie Dubs, for a little bit of Morning Magic Stocks. Hope you have a fantastic day. I'm going to be checking out. Oh, we got Michael Superbacker in the house. Thanks for joining us. Morning, Brody, Dual Brain, and Richie Dubs. Thanks for joining us, Richie Dubs, Michael Superbacker, once again. We're just doing a little recap on the Morning Magic Stocks here for all you folks tuning in. We're looking at the over under, a couple of cards that I had never even heard of this card, the Scent of Cinder. We're talking about price manipulation, and like this card has such a low volume that it doesn't sell very many copies of it. So when it does sell, if it's a high funny price, like it's only 5 of them sold in a month, when one sells for $100, it moves the market, but it's not like a really good reflection of what the price of the card is. So we're talking about how that can have an effect when there's cards that are little known cards like this card, the Scent of Cinder. And then there's the other end of the spectrum, Fact or Fiction, a card that, it's maybe overvalued, but there's so many printings of it. And like, I don't think anybody's going to disagree here. Like, this card's been reprinted enough times where $30 seems like a unusually high price for a card that has so many copies and is played so much. Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunter, a $50 to $60 bomb that's played in decks that just he outright just wins you the game if you can resolve it. When it enters, you exile 2 permanents. It's got an indestructible, and when it attacks the defending player, exiles 20 cards off their library. It wins you the game if you can blink this. It just wrecks your opponent. 2 permanents, and that can be lands. So like, he quite often will hit lands because people aren't playing this for 10; they're just blinking it. But is it $50 or $60? I don't know. I think I'd try and see a reprint, just like this card, the Gemstone Caverns. This one I wouldn't rush out and buy it. No way, no how. It's probably gonna get hit with a reprint again soon. But nevertheless, a really interesting article given to us by Harvey McGinnis on the MTG Stocks team. We're checking the Hasbro price. It's $62.10. Totally trying to watching the replay. Yeah, you can always watch the replay, but a little recap for you joining us today, Michael. I really appreciate your support checking out the channel. Here on Monday, November 28th, MTG 30 drops today. So we were looking at like the movers and shakers. Let's back up off of Kokusho, the Evening Star here. On the all list today, like MTG 30 does drop today, and we're seeing like a lot of the Power 9 listed on the movers and the shakers list here this morning, like the Time Twister, Black Lotus, Time Walk, Ancestral Recall, the Mox Jet, and the Time Twister Library of Alexandria. That one might as well be in the top 10 or the Power 10. So you tell me, does that have anything to do with anything? Are people listing copies of these rare, select, fine pieces of cardboardia for sale right now, expecting prices to trend down? I couldn't tell you, but I could tell you that what I'm looking at has got all the power just about on the top 10. Some new listings. This one here, the Time Twister, looks like there's a listing there was one for 50,000. Yeah, 50,000 for a graded copy. So some of these graded versions are hitting the market at extremely high dollars this morning. So in some incredibly high priced listings, like this is like the top of the line version, right? A graded copy. So 8.5. This just hit the market, right? Doesn't ship to Brodyville, nor will I be getting it, but let's keep going. Let's run down the list for the folks tuning in
this morning, the fans of Magic the Gathering who love the game as much as we do, near and dear to our hearts. We're going to check out another couple of cards here. The Plague Vermin, Grinding Station, and Darien. We already covered him once already, but let's do it again. We're going to go down a couple of more cards on the modern side, and then we're going to also put the proverbial bagels in the oven and get going because we got places to go and people to see. Hope you guys are having a good one. Appreciate you tuning in the morning with Brody. Let's take a look at this Plague of Vermin. Plague of Vermin, $10.92. Here's a crazy card from Shadowmoor. A black and 6. Any starting with you. Each player may pay any amount of life. Repeat this process until no one pays life. Each player creates a 1/1 black rat creature token for each life they paid in this way. So in rat decks, right? Like this has got some stinky little Carl Critchlow art on it. And you know what? There's somebody who's a fan of the show who loves this artist too. Carl Critchlow just giving us some interesting art here. So if you're building a rat deck, this is definitely something that's got to go in it. Let's see. Marrow Nahar, Ayara the First Lockwane, Ashcoat the Shadow Swarm, Aloro Ageless Ascetic. Is there flavor text on it? It's too bad there isn't. So this $10 Luros of the Dream Den. I don't see like a specific have fear. So in a rat deck, that's the card, right? All rats have fear, attack, Sapica, rat. Put X1/1 black rat creature tokens into play where X is the number of rats you control. Maronar united 3 Nezumi gangs when he slew their leaders in a single night. Now they call him their first lord. Cool. That actually seems fun. 5 mana, 2/3 rat commander. The Gnat Miser. There's all kinds of rats. Each opponent's max hand size is reduced by 1. That is such a good card. How did I not know about this card for my commander deck? Wow. Each opponent's max hand size is reduced by 1. That is really cool. All right, well, it's almost discard. Early in the game, people are going to have to pitch down on a 1-drop. That's pretty good. This with Vicious Rumors or something like that seems like an okay card. Let's keep going down the list. Awesome. To the Rats by Woody Woodland. Woody Wooderson from Woodlandsville, Woodadonia. Grinding Station. This is a card I saw, and it's played in decks, and I keep seeing it. Like, I saw people playing this at Magic 30 and a Grinding Station. Now, there's a Grinding Station deck. Let's see. Sack an artifact. Target pair mills 3. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, you may untap Grinding Station. So yeah, it's played in Mill. So you're playing. Let's see here. Where are we? Grinding Station in Modern. It is played in Modern. Yes, there was people playing this at the event. People straight up playing Grinding Station. I get to take a look at this deck. Oh, and it's got the Ragavans in there. Of course, right? Treasure enters, untap Grinding Station. Yes. Ugh, disgusting. Ugh. So you play the Grinding Station. You coach making treasure. Ledger Shredder, Thassa's Oracle. Of course, got to just win the game on the spot. Emery Lurker of the Lock to replay your goodies from the graveyard. Costs 1 less to play for each artifact you control, and when it enters the battlefield, you got a mill 4, but you can tap her to choose target artifact card from your graveyard and cast that card this turn. So you get to replay your Shadow Spear, your Soul Guide Lantern, your Engineer's Explosives, your Pithing Needle, your Poothing Needle, or your Puthing Needle, any of those needles. Prismatic Ending. Teferi Time Raveler. Gosh, this card is just like super annoying. To slow you down or speed yourself up or slow your opponent down. Galvanic Blast, Unholy Heat, and all the other stuff. Mishra's Bauble, Mox Amber. There we go. That's where it's being played. So Mox Amber, Springleaf Drum, and the Grinding Station, of course. $30 for this card from 5th on. It's really good. Cool. All right, and last on the list for you folks today, before we get on with the proverbial bagels and join Richie Dubs for a bagel, I'm gonna leave you with this card here. Darian, King of Keldor, and we did see some soldier builds today in Commander, and I'm just gonna check one more card here for you folks. Darian, King of Keldor, legendary human soldier. So he is the soldier commander that everybody wants to see. Whenever you dealt damage, you may put that many white 1/1 soldier tokens into play. So this card is played in Commander, and it's played with another card that was on the Movers of Shakers, an artifact, a Jade Monolith. I think that's what it is. Let's see if we can find that. Where is the Jade Monolith? They're not playing it here, but just take a look at this tech for a second. So the Jade Monolith was a card that we saw in the Mover Shaker just a couple of weeks ago. You can pay 1, and it says the next time a source of your choice would deal damage to target creature this turn, that source deals that much damage to you instead. This card is played in a Darien King of Keldor deck. It is really good because you can redirect to yourself any amount of damage dealt to any creature that you're dealt, and then you get to put that many soldier tokens into play, and you couple that up with the Soul Warden, Soul's Attendant, and any of the creatures that gain you life. When a creature enters the battlefield, it becomes really good. Darien, the King of Keldor. We like this card. Pretty sweet build this morning. All right, folks, my time is up. But before I go, I'll leave you with this one. What do you call a chubby psychic? A fortune teller. There you are. Take that one with you. I hope you have a really good start to your week today, November 28th. Appreciate all you folks for